Hello and very warm welcome to the sessions on Indian economy. So we will be discussing one very important concept related to central economic problems. Central economic problems. Now, you can understand with the name central economic problem. These problems are central problems of almost all economies. So all economies are facing these three problems that we are going to discuss, right? So for example, number one, what to produce? What to produce? This is one economic problem, right? What to produce? It constitutes two things. Number one, what type of commodities, right? What type of commodities? For example, the commodities which are being used in peacetime, like clothes, footwears, so peacetime goods, or wartime goods like arms, ammunition, etc. So what combination of commodities we need to produce? See, these economic problems are occurring because of only one reason. The wants are unlimited and the resources to satisfy those wants are very much limited. So there occurs problem of choice. Now we have to choose what to produce. We should go for production of peacetime good or we should go for production of wartime goods. For example, we can go for production of consumer goods, or we should divert all our resources towards the production of capital goods. So which commodities, which type of commodities we need to produce, that is what we have to understand. So what to produce means what? Which combination of commodities, peacetime goods, wartime goods, consumer goods, capital goods, etc., right? So this is one problem. Almost every economy will be facing this problem, right? What should we produce, right? What has to be produced, right? This is the problem. Then once you decided that these are the commodities that I need to produce, in what quantity? So what to produce consists of two things. Number one, what type of commodities? Number two, in what quantity, in what amount, in what quantity, right? This is what to produce. Now when we are deciding on this, what to produce, what shall be our guiding light? How we should get guided on this question? So on this particular question, the guidance will be given by maximum aggregate satisfaction. Maximum aggregate satisfaction. We should produce those commodities which shall result into maximum aggregate satisfaction in the economy, right? People should be satisfied more and more, so we should be taking care of larger population, larger set of population, that is maximum aggregate satisfaction. What to produce, right? I hope this is clear. Now second question, now you have decided what combination of commodities you will be producing. We will talk more about this when we will be talking about production possibility curve, etc. But I hope this question is clear, and what should be our guiding light, that is also clear. Now second question, if you see, second question is about, now you have decided what type of commodities and in what quantity. Now you have to decide how to produce. How to produce. When we say how to produce, what do we mean by this? Two factors: capital intensive method or labor intensive method. Capital intensive method, labor intensive method. Now what do we mean by this? When we say capital intensive method, more use of machines. Capital goods we understand, right? We have discussed it. Capital goods and consumer goods. Capital goods are those goods which will be used for further production of goods and services. For example, this particular board, right? This particular digital board, all this pen, stylus, etc. This is being used for further production of education services. This particular camera, right? Everything, whatever is there, these lights, etc. Everything is being utilized for production of education services. So these are capital goods. Capital goods are those goods which will be used for further production of goods and services, right? For example, car, if you have a car and you are using that particular car to provide taxi services, so you are providing taxi services, that becomes capital good. But that particular car, when you are using to go to your workplace or your college, etc., so you are using that particular commodity car as a consumer good for your own self satisfaction. So when you are using it for your satisfaction, it becomes consumer good. When you are using it for further production of goods and services, it becomes what? Capital goods. I hope the idea is clear. Right. Now, what do we mean by capital intensive method? When we say capital intensive, more use of capital, more use of capital than more use of capital than that of labor. So you are using more capital than the labor, like more machines, like automation. When you are using big machines, you are using less labor. When you are using small machines, you need more labor to work on that, right? So labor intensive method and capital intensive method. Capital intensive method, more use of capital than that of labor, right? When we say labor intensive method, more use of labor, more use of labor than that of capital. So more use of labor than that of capital. Now, how to decide? Question is clear. How to produce means whether to go for capital intensive methods or to go for labor intensive methods. Now, how to decide on this? To decide on this, we will be following a principle, that is maximum production at less cost. So cost incurred will be less, cost incurred should be less, and production should be maximum. This will be our objective while deciding how to produce. I hope the idea is clear, right? How to produce talks about two sub question, whether, or two subtopic, capital intensive method or labor intensive method. Which method we should follow for production? Maximum production, less cost. So less cost and maximum production, this will be our guiding principle while deciding on how to produce, right? Now, the next question. The third question, or the third central economic problem, is about for whom to produce. For whom to distribution. It is about distribution. For whom to produce? Whether we should produce for rich or for poor, right? So for whom to produce? Now, this should also result in maximum aggregate satisfaction. If some example I want to give you here, if you talk about US economy is growing, there is no doubt about it, right? Economy is growing, US economy. So no doubt it is growing, right? But if you analyze, you will come to know that share of, or for that matter, you can say income of profit earners are increasing. Income of profit earners That means capitalists, right? Businessmen. Income of profit earners have increased, have significantly increased, whereas income of wage earners have not increased in that proportion. So income of wage earners working on salary, etc. So income of wage earners are somewhat stagnant. That is why you will see there is a talk of make America great again. Why make America great again? Because these population are suffering to some extent, right? When their income is not increasing, whereas income of profit earners are increasing. So it is a problem of distribution. For example, at one point of time, we have also talked about the factors of production. Factors of production. What things that are needed for production activity, right? Primary things. For example, you need a premises, so you need land, any area, real or virtual, you need something, right? So land, you need labor, you need capital, and you need enterprise or entrepreneur. Enterprise or entrepreneur who will be gathering all these factors of production, who will be taking risk of the business, that is entrepreneur or enterprise, right? So this is the thing. Now when we talk about factor of production, who shall get more profit or larger share, right? For example, for land we have to pay rent, for labor we have to give what? Wages. To labor you will be giving wages, the person who has given you land you will be paying rent, who has provided capital you will be paying interest, and the entrepreneur or the enterprise will be having their profit, right? These are known as factor payments. This is known as factor of production: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. And these are factor payments: rent, wages, profit, interest. These are factor payments. Now who shall get more payment, right? Profit shall The share of profit should be higher, or the share of interest should be higher, the share of wages should be higher, the share of rent should be higher. What should be higher? This is the question of functional distribution. Depending upon function, who shall get more, right? When we talk about this Maharashtra Ladki Behan Yojana scheme, when people are when government is putting money in the hands of women of the family, female member of the family, it is the question of personal distribution. Now you are selecting female member of the family, personal distribution, right? Functional distribution, depending upon function that they are playing, right? So this is about problem of distribution, right? Problem of distribution, for whom you are producing it, right? So these are the three questions of the economy. Central problem, also known as central problems of any economy or central economic problems. What are these problems? Number one, first problem is what to produce. So what to produce consists of two things: what type of commodities we will be producing and in what quantity. Second question, how to produce. That is whether we should go for capital intensive technology or labor intensive technology. When we talk about capital intensive technology, more use of capital than that of labor. When we talk about labor intensive technology, more use of labor than that of capital, right? I hope this idea is clear. Then third question is for whom to produce, how to distribute. The goods and services have been produced. Now to distribute it through market or distribute through government. For example, when under National Food Security Act, government is giving food grain at subsidized rate, 1 rupee a kg, 2 rupee a kg, 3 rupee a kg, right? Now this distribution is happening through PDS shops, ration shops, public distribution system, right? It can whether it is happening through market or it is happening through a government channel, right? Again, the problem of distribution. right? So these are the three problems that are present in almost all economies. Now, how to decide on these problems, right? How to decide on central economic problems? How to decide on central economic problems? Let's understand. It depends upon the type of economy that we are having. For example, we can classify broadly economy under two categories: capitalist economy and socialist economy. Capitalist economy or socialist economy. Now, let's understand. When we say capitalist economy, these problems will be solved majorly by market mechanism. Market mechanism, we can also say market mechanism as forces of demand and supply. Forces of demand and supply. So if demand is there, more demand is there for a particular commodity, that will be produced, right? So it depends on forces of demand and supply. Demand and supply will solve the central economic problems in capitalist economy. When we say socialist economy works on planning mechanism. Planning mechanism. So a planning authority will be there, and that planning authority will be involved in allocation and distribution of resources. Allocation and distribution of resources. This is about capitalist economy. This is about socialist economy. Now, there are many attributes on which we can find the difference between capitalist and socialist economy. More on this we will be studying under the module of planning period, right? But as of now, this is fine. This capitalist economy will solve central economic problems with the help of forces of demand and supply. Socialist economy will be solving problem of central economic problems or central economic problems with the help of planning mechanism, under which allocation and distribution of resources will be done by a planning authority. Right? Planning authority. This is the idea. Now, once we have understood this, let's understand one more important topic here related to production possibility curve. Now let's understand what exactly production possibility curve, also known as production possibility frontier. So it is PPC curve or PPF. Both are the same, production possibility curve or production possibility frontier. Now what exactly it is? When we say production possibility curve, it is a graphical representation. Graphical representation of what? Graphical representation of combination of commodities. Graphical representation of combination of some commodities. I will explain why some commodities that can be produced, some commodities that can be produced after utilizing all its resources, utilizing all its resources right? After utilizing all its resources at given technology. That means technology should not change at given technology. That means technology should remain fixed, right? If technology will change, production possibility curve will also change. Now let's understand if this is a graphical representation, what do we mean by this? See, a production possibility curve can be plotted like this. This is production possibility curve. These are the two commodities, right? What we have said here, graphical representation of combination of some commodities. Since on paper we can have two dimensions, right? Two axis, x-axis, y-axis. So we are taking only two commodities here. We are taking two commodities for our explanation on the paper, on the board, right? Otherwise there can be n dimensional also, right, which can be plotted. Now for example, if we talk about two different commodities, right, like this, suppose I am not changing my inputs, right? Suppose these are the labor are input, right? And these are the output. So labor we are using, this is output, finished goods, right? Now suppose we are having two commodities. One is wheat, other is clothes, right? So we are using different labors and we are producing what? Wheat and clothes. Now this is labor for wheat and cloth. This is output, what we have produced, right? Now please pay attention. Initially I was producing only wheat. Suppose I was producing 100 kg of wheat. No clothes, zero clothes, right? Zero clothes. Now I am having suppose 10 labors. So I am using 10 labor for the production of wheat. No labor is there for clothes, right? Now I am diverting my resources for the production of clothes, right? So now I am using here 8 labors for wheat and 2 labors I have diverted for the production of clothes. Earlier I was producing 100 kg of wheat. Now I am producing 1 unit of cloth, and I have sacrificed 10 kg of wheat for this. 2 labors working for production of clothes, able to produce 1 unit of cloth, and I have sacrificed how many unit of wheat? And 10 units of wheat I have sacrificed. Now moving further, I am again diverting some of my labors. So here I have diverted again 2 more labor here for the production of clothes. So now I am using 4 labors. Here I am compromising with now 20 units. So I am able to produce only 70 kg of wheat and 2 units of clothes. I am diverting 3 more. So it becomes 7 labors in clothes. I am sacrificing more. Now I am sacrificing 30 units. So I am able to produce only 40 kg. Here I am able to produce 1 extra unit of cloth. Now I have diverted all my resources towards what? All my resources towards cloth, means no labor in wheat and all 10 labors are working to produce cloth. Now I am not able to produce any unit of wheat and I am able to produce 4 units of cloth. Now I want you to understand lot many things from this particular table, some new concepts as well. See, when I say that I am producing 1 extra unit, see, 2 products are there, wheat and clothes. To produce one extra unit of cloth, I have sacrificed with 10 units of 10 units of wheat. To produce one more unit plus one more unit of clothes, I have to sacrifice here 20 units of wheat. To produce one more extra unit of clothes, I have to sacrifice 30 units. And to produce one more, I have to sacrifice 40 units. The number of, please pay attention, the number of one commodity that you are sacrificing to produce one extra unit of another commodity is known as marginal opportunity cost. Is known as what? Marginal opportunity cost. The number, please pay attention, the number of one commodity that you are sacrificing to produce one extra unit of another commodity is known as what? Marginal opportunity cost. So marginal opportunity cost is 10, 20, 30, 40, because you are producing one extra unit of another commodity. Now how to plot this? If you want to plot this particular graph, suppose what can happen here? On x-axis we can take this wheat, production of wheat. So wheat is in the unit of 0, 40, right? 0, 40, 70, 90, 100. And clothes we can take here, sorry, 0 will not be here, it is 20, suppose 20, 20, 0 here, origin. Now it is 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So on x-axis we have plotted wheat, on y-axis we have plotted clothes. First point, as you can see, 100 units of wheat. So 100 units of wheat and 100 units of wheat and 0 units of cloth. Then 90 and 1. So this is the point. 90 and 1. This is the point, right? Then we have 70 and 2. 70 and 2. This is the point. Then we have 40 and 3. So 40 and 3. This is the point. Then we have 0 and 4. This is the point. If we plot this particular graph, it will be like this. It will be like this. This is known as what? Production possibility curve. Production possibility curve. Now you have to observe few things. If your marginal opportunity cost is increasing, as you can see, 10, 20, 30, 40, it is increasing, means more and more numbers of first commodity will be foregone to produce one extra unit. If marginal opportunity cost is increasing, your PPC will be concave shaped. This is concave towards origin. See, I will explain you like this here. There can be three shapes for production possibility curve. One is what we got, like concave shape. One we can have like convex shaped, like this. This is convex shaped. And one we can have as a straight line. These can be three possible production possibility curve. Now what do we mean by this? When marginal opportunity cost is increasing, we get concave shape PPC, as you can see in this case. First, when marginal opportunity cost is decreasing, we will get PPC of convex shape. And when marginal opportunity cost is constant, neither increasing nor decreasing, then we get PPC curve as straight line. I hope these are clear. Concave shaped, convex shaped, straight line. Now, one thing you have to understand, when we discussed PPC, we said at given technology. Now, let's change the technology. For example, first let's understand this is a PPC. Then we can have three types of points, location. Suppose this is point A, this is point B, this is point C, and this is point D. What do we mean by all these points? Point C and point B, the points which are there on PPC, point B and point C, which are there on PPC, they represents what? Optimum utilization of resources. Optimum, you have utilized the resources optimally. Optimum utilization of resources. Point A, it represents what? Underutilization. It represents what? Underutilization of resources. And when we say point D is known as unattainable point. Unattainable point. You cannot attain this point with the given technology. If technology changes, if technology improves, right, or changes favorably, then we can attain point D also. But at given technology, point D is unattainable point. So this is what we cannot reach. This is what, if we utilize our resources optimally, we can reach to point B and point C. Means points on the curve represents optimum utilization of resources. Point outside the curve represents unattainable point. It cannot be attained. Point inside the PPC represents underutilization of resource. You can work for 5 hours, but you are allowed only to work for 2 hours. Underutilization, right? These are the things. I hope these points are clear. Now, what happens if technology improves? See here. If technology improves, you get, or if technology improves, or for that matter, you get new sources of raw material, new mine you have discovered, right? A new mine you have discovered, and now you can have extraction of natural resources from there, right? So what happens if technology improves, right? Or new resources, new avenue of resources you have developed, then what happens? This was your production possibility curve. When technology improves, your production possibility curve shifts like this. This is the shifting, shift to the right. Now what will happen? Earlier, these points were unattainable points. This point was also unattainable. This was also unattainable point. But now you can see this point is well inside the curve. This point is on the PPC. So if I utilize my resources optimally, now I can attain this point. And this point is well inside the curve. So not at all an issue for me. That means if technology improves, my production possibility curve shifts to the right. Also, it may happen like a natural disaster, earthquake, or a tsunami has happened. What will happen to production possibility curve? It will shrink. Here it is expanding, here it is shrinking. And earlier the point which was on PPC, now it will become unattainable point. So if technology improves favorably, or if technology becomes worse off, or natural disaster, takes place. So if technology improves, this is the thing. If technology worsens, or 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 if natural disaster take place, or any disaster, technology curve will shrink, PPC will shrink, right? Now, one more thing we have to understand, when we are talking about two commodities, it may happen that technology is improving for one particular commodity and not for other commodity, like the example we took, wheat and clothes. So it may happen that technology is improving for, suppose on this particular axis, y axis, we are having clothes here, and here we are having wheat. Now what has happened, technology has improved for production of wheat but not for clothes. This will be our production possibility curve, and this will be shift. For wheat, the technology has improved. So if technology has improved for wheat, technology improvement for wheat, it may happen that technology improvement is there only for clothes, only for clothes, and not for wheat. So now it is for technology improvement for clothes and not for wheat. And if it improves for both, then PPC will shift like this, right? So I hope the idea is clear. Now, this marginal opportunity cost, when we see here, we write about it depends on marginal opportunity cost. So marginal opportunity cost is slope of the PPC. Marginal opportunity cost is slope of the PPC, right? So this is the idea that we wanted to discuss, right? See you in the next class. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.